team. And I like the way that, we kept going until the end. We wanted more goals, showed a hunger to press for the whole 90 minutes, and yeah, brilliant going into the international break.
You did have a lot of possession in that first half, but without creating much, so there was an element of patience and then changing things at half-time.
Yeah, I think like you said there, the first half we were patient, but maybe didn't take quite enough risks in the final third, and the gaffer said to us at half-time that we need to be a bit more creative in the attacking half, and we've got unbelievable talent up there. We need to show it, and second half we did that.
And this is talent that has to bed in and settle into their roles in the team. Are you further along in that transition because you know the Premier League inside out, unlike some of the other recruits?
Yeah, I've not played in leagues, but I've heard the Premier League's a lot different. So it's going to take a bit of time for them to adjust, and everyone's working hard on the training pitch. I think if you look at all the boys today, everyone put a shift in, and everyone played really well. So it's starting to bed together well.
So you are looking forward with some excitement. Frank Lampard was saying during the week that he expects Chelsea fans to feel an element of excitement from this side. Yeah,
100%. I think personally, and talking to the other boys that have come here, the reason that we've all come here is because we think this team can win stuff. And so they showed that we're all hungry to win trophies over the next few years. We just need to work hard and keep making performances like today.
Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
Well, that man would have wanted more from his players at half-time, and he got it in the second half, didn't he?
It was outstanding performance. So they just upped the tempo. We said at half-time we thought Crystal Palace looked a bit lacklustre coming out of the thing, and that's a sense you get when you've been in football. I just looked like they thought they might have patted themselves on the back for a decent defensive performance in the first half. But Chelsea come out, all guns blazing. Lamps would have got into them, played with more urgency, and they got the job done. It was a fantastic performance.
Big smile on Ben Chilwell's face when he spoke to Des just before the break. We'll have a look at the goal he was involved in, that he scored, and the assist he got as well now. How important is it when you sign for a club to put in a performance like that, debut in the Premier League?
Yeah, I think more importantly, a clean sheet. And that's been something that's been hard to come by on a consistent basis for this Chelsea. I think what he's done is he's come in, and it seems like it's water off a duck's back to him. Confidence, happy to be on his stage, happy with expectations that are going to be different from what he had at his previous club. But today I thought he was, in the second half, as Joe said, they upped the tempo going forward. And then once they got in the league, there was only going to be one winner in this game.
I think what he gives you, Reid, doesn't he? His left foot's lovely. It's like Alonso, but I think he's a little bit more... It's professionalism, isn't it? Jorginho comes in, dispatches it excellently like he always does. And I thought Tammy and Tino, it's great, like Rio says, it's great, they're both hungry, they want to get on the score sheet. I think there's no need to sour a great performance with any negativity. They all did the right thing. Chelsea scored, Chelsea won 4-0, and it's a great day for the club.
And I think the captain diffused this because it could have escalated quite easily.
That's the job. What about the manager's job? He'll be happy as well today. Here's Frank with Des.
Frank, that must be very satisfying. You kept banging on the door, and you got the reward in the end.
Yeah, we did, and not too many put forward past Palace because they're so organised and well coached, good players. First half we started well, and we looked like we were going to create. I think then we came off it a little bit, not bright enough, not enough speed in that game. Last 20 minutes of the first half, comfortable still, but we needed a bit more, and they showed it straight away at the start of the second, and we get 4 goals, which is great for us. Great for us.
In that first quarter of the game, you had 82% possession. You had 73% by the time half-time came. You're not creating enough in that. So what did you change at half-time? What did you tell the players?
Just the urgency of our game. I think we had to mix it up. The way we started, there was a bit more movement. There was a couple of passes we had to get Ben Chilwell into the game because he was arriving in high areas. We weren't finding him. And the ball behind for Tammy Abraham. We can't allow the Crystal Palace back 4 to go home and say it wasn't too hard dealing with that front 4, and that's why the message was at half-time, just change it up, more speed, more movements, change our game up, and they did it straight away.
And Ben delivered that first goal and the assist for the second. I mean, you've admired him for a long time. He seems further down the road, of course, in this transition with the new players, obviously because he knows the Premier League inside out, as he admits himself.
Yeah, he was fantastic today, and he gave everything that I admired him, as you say, for, because of his ability to be so high up the pitch when you want him. Not that he's being reckless by being there, he arrives, he's got the capacity to get up and back, great quality on the ball, been a great lad, and yeah, I agree with you in terms of the signings that we brought in, knows the Premier League. It's just been a case of his fitness. They've all had issues a little bit, the lads that have come in, whether they're injured, whether they've not had enough pre-seasons. We have to give those boys a little bit of time, but the way Chile played today shows you what he's about.
That's right, you'll get the time as well with performances like that. There was a little debate for the fourth goal, the second penalty, where we saw Cesar Azpilicueta take the ball away from Tammy and give it to Jorginho. Good decision? Is that the kind of leadership you want to see?
Yeah, and it's been dealt with.
Dealt with on the pitch and dealt with in the dressing room as well. Right.
No problems, just dealt with.
But that's the kind of thing you've been looking for from this side. You want leaders on the pitch, you want people to take command.
I want leaders, and I don't mind a little bit of conflict. If Tammy wanted to take it because he wants to go or whatever it was, then he can get put in his place a little bit, and I appreciate his eagerness because his performance deserved a goal. But those are the rules. You don't jump ahead of the list at any moment unless maybe someone's at a hat-trick and we're so comfortable that I decide. So dealt with.
Congratulations.
Cheers. Thanks, Des. Thank you.
I like that. Look, we saw how it was dealt with out here. How would it have been dealt with in the dressing room?
I think from Frank's interview there, it's very clear. Tammy, you know who the penalty taker is. Respect that. Thank you. Simple as that.
We've had it here before in Frank's time at Chelsea, issues with penalty takers. It looks like that one's been put to bed. He spoke there, didn't he, about being clear at half-time. He wanted to get Ben Chilwell in the game more. The players obviously listened to him.
Yeah, we had a great aspect from where we're standing. He's right, Frank. Chilwell was arriving into these positions late on, and they wasn't using him enough. You know, what he does is he plays and he follows. He's got great energy, and when he gets there, because
Today's modern fullback, who the onus is on them to be the outlet and to be in the attacking third at times, especially in the middle of the park as well. When the ball's coming across, be in them positions to be the outlet, to then start the attack and get balls into the box. And he does it magnificently well. Modern day left back.
Yeah. Okay, let's get some more reaction now. Here's the thoughts of Roy.
Roy, you did so much good work in that first half, particularly defensively, but then you were overwhelmed in the second. What happened?
Well, it's what the difference that goals make, of course. Unfortunately, we conceded 4, but all of them really, unfortunately, were very clear individual errors at the back. And when that happens, it's hard to come back from it unless you've got a clear attacking threat. And we didn't have that today. We didn't have that at any stage of the game. I thought that, as you rightly say, in the first half, our defending was good, our off-the-ball work was excellent, but on the ball we didn't show anything like the composure or the confidence that I would have liked the team to show. And against the team that pressurised as well, like Chelsea did today, it was always going to be a question of making certain that they didn't score one. And unfortunately, we gifted them a goal after 50 minutes, and to compound everything, we gifted them 2 goals at the end with the 2 penalties.
Why is that? Why was there so few chances? Because for a player like Wilf Zaha, he was practically just isolated with barely a touch in that game.
No, but I mean, to get a touch, you've got to work hard to get those touches for yourself. I mean, the fact is we're playing against a good team and they made life very difficult. They were very solid defensively themselves, so it was never going to be easy. But it's a harsh scoreline, and it's a scoreline, unfortunately, we can only blame ourselves for.
In the first half, they had a lot of possession, and statistically, I know you love your statistics, the first quarter of the game, you had 18%, and by half-time, you'd made it to 27%, but that does put an enormous amount of pressure on the defence and on your players just to hold out.
Yeah, it's where they have the ball, isn't it? I mean, the fact is that in the first half, I didn't think there were many goal chances. So the game's about goals and goal chances, not about how many times you can pass the ball across the back 4.
Is this just a bad day at the office and wipe it away, or do you have to rethink something?
You can never wipe things away, and there were some poor performances out there today, that's for sure, and the players are more than aware that 1 or 2 of them will be looking in the mirror and thinking I didn't do anywhere near enough or play anywhere near the level that I would like to play at. But unfortunately, these games do happen during the course of a season, and there's nothing you can do but take it on the chin and make certain that you don't allow it to have too big an effect on your confidence. You know, we've had 3 very good games, and I thought the confidence was going to be quite high coming at this game, as I said to you before the match. But unfortunately, the couple of mistakes we made and the fact that we were fighting back from 0-2 fairly on in the second half meant that we are standing here today looking at a heavy defeat.
Thank you, Roy.
Pleasure.
He will bemoan the mistakes. He will criticise some of his players who he says will look in the mirror and know they didn't do enough. But the stats tell us that today they didn't manage a shot on target and less than 30% possession. It's a hard watch.
it is a hard watch, and it's difficult because I respect Roy and the way Crystal Palace play. It's just not for me. And for someone like Wilfried Zaha, you know, he'll be looking at it and he'll be massively frustrated. He didn't get on the ball, but the system didn't allow him to get on the ball. Chelsea were good, and you will always have games like that in any kind of forward position, attacking mid or strike. You'll have games when the ball doesn't come to you, and for whatever reason, you can make more runs, you give it. But if I'm in Zaha's shoes, the frustration will be mounting because he wants to play expansive football. Imagine you put Zaha in the Brighton team, for example. You know, similar levels. You could argue that Crystal Palace have more talented players, but Zaha would have more opportunities to get in the final third and use his ability. Today we didn't see him, and his frustrations I can understand for a player of his quality to not get on the ball in the final third. But that's the system he's in, and we have to respect it. That's the road that Roy and Crystal Palace are in.
It's hard for someone like Zaha, or not just Zaha, I think all the attacking players. I think we saw Eze and we spoke about him glowingly before the game. But how many times did he really get the ball in and around the final third of and running at the fullback in and around Chelsea's box? Once or twice. And so it makes it so much more difficult. Their attacking players have got to probably run 50 yards every time they get the ball to have a chance of attacking the opponent's goal, which makes it so difficult in that respect and exerting so much energy in that respect as well. And they're having to defend very deep. So the distances they're having to travel with and without the ball to get up the pitch are huge. And it's testing like that. It's difficult.
And the problem is when you're playing like that and you're in the midfield, any of the four positions they play, it takes such mental concentration to stay in the right positions. And Chelsea are probing, Chelsea are moving it. And then you win the ball, and then your energy's down, and then you've got to drive 30 yards up the ball. It's tough position. I've played that position, and I understand the benefit, and I also know the difficulties of it. And a moment that today wasn't a day for Crystal Palace where they could get Zaha's and Eze's on the ball enough, was it?
I think this is the way that Roy Hodgson's teams are set up. I think that we've come to expect that when we see him play. We weren't expecting anything different today. It's just at Old Trafford, they were able to get up the pitch. They were able to get out sometimes when they were sitting back and defending, rolling with the punches, and all of a sudden, once they won the ball, the transition to get through the pitch was a lot easier against Manchester United. That's where I think Chelsea need to credit today, is that they stopped counter-attack. Huge part of their game. Palace are a well-organised team. Let's not forget that. And they showed at Old Trafford they can hurt teams as and when they get the right moments. If you're not secure enough, and Chelsea today were secure.
And let's be clear, while Roy's in charge and they stay in the Premier League, this will be the approach. It won't change for those Palace fans that are frustrated by that.
Not at all, and I think that it seems the Palace people who own the club are happy with that. They're very happy with that, and the fans, when you go down to Palace's ground at Selhurst, the fans' place is jumping, it's bouncing. They're in the Premier League, and so they're a club. I think their fans, their expectations and what they want and what they're asking. Club isn't Europa Champions League. They're saying we want to stay in the league.
Well, they want to be entertained as well.
But Roy Hodgson knows that. And listen, at Old Trafford, you're asking for entertainment. There was entertainment last week at Old Trafford from a Crystal Palace perspective. Just today, off day.
Didn't happen. Meanwhile, Frank, he's going to have a smile on his face for the international break. That's just what he wanted.
Do you know what? This is a Rio. I tell you, like this game going into the international break. If you lose it, it's disastrous, ain't it? It's horrible. So he's got 2 weeks now. He can put his feet up, and he can just enjoy the win.
If we're thinking, like we said, what glass tonight?
Yeah.
Red, white,
Lovely.
blush.
Lucky him.